Hello everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. Today I am sharing, I think probably one of my favourite pages that I've created using Dina's new release for September 2022. So I'm starting off using some clear gesso on my pages just so that the colours are true when they go on the page. The cardstock in these books is very absorbent, so this is a good way to just make sure that your colours are as you want them to be. So I've just put that to one side to dry, and then I have a piece of transparency or acetate on my desk. It's really difficult to see, so I'm not stamping these onto my glass mat. And I'm just using the text profile stamps to start off with and stamping a couple of these on to the acetate. You do need to be a little bit careful because obviously the ink is wet and the stamps will slide a little bit, so don't want a smudgy image. Just try and be extra careful. I've used some other stamps as well. I've used some from the Perfect to Me stamp set and some from the circled stamp set from Dina's release previous to this one. I did give it a little dry with my heat tool. You can see the images there that I've stamped onto the acetate. So that's going to go to one side to dry. So this is the Helix Circle Maker, and I had a second attempt at drawing a circle. The first one wasn't quite in the right place. So, and then this is the Kraft knife that I use. And lots of you keep asking me about what it is, so I thought I'd leave the packet there for you to see. It's the Model Kraft. It is one of the best ones I've found. I think the scariest thing about it though is when you're changing the blades. They are incredibly sharp and each one comes individually wrapped, as you can see, and sliding them onto the metal handle is a moment where you hold your breath a little bit. Anyway, so there we go, that's the Kraft knife. Then with the little cutting mat underneath, I'm just cutting out the circle. And I'm just going to cut out a couple of extra little pieces, bottom left and top right. And then I'm just cutting a little bit off the top of this page, so probably about 1.5 centimetres roughly, just so that, because I'm going to be creating a pocket and I wanted the front part of that to be a little bit lower than the back to make it a bit easier to get things in and out. So then I'm going in with some colour. This is fuchsia with quite a wet brush, but that's okay because obviously my pages have got clear gesso on, which you can see where that is, can't you? Where it's dried. And then giving those pages a quick dry, I'm going in with the Squoval stencil and using some blackberry. And here I'm just doing the pattern across this page because the bits behind, well, the bits that you can see through the cutout is what you'll see when the pocket is fastened together. So I don't need to worry too much about the bits that are hidden by the page in front. So then using this stencil shape mashup, I've mixed a bit of sand colour with the paint that's already on my blending tool, so that's the blackberry, and just made that really pretty purpley colour. Then I've changed my sponge on my blending tool and I am going in with the sand using the same stencil. So I've got some nice pretty colours and a little bit of contrast there with the lighter sand colour on top. Okay, so then going in with the Done Is Better stencil, I decided I would use a bit of rosy just for a little bit of contrast. So, and obviously in certain lights that catches quite nicely and it is quite pretty. So then I've grabbed myself another piece of acetate and I'm going to cut it down so that it will fit for behind the pocket window. I don't know why I was using such tiny scissors. I do have bigger scissors. Then this is my trusty double-sided tape gun. I love this tool. It is, I think, one of my favourite things. I use it ever such a lot. And here I've just stuck it in place, the window, And then I'm just going around and adding a little bit more double-sided tape just to make sure that it catches in all the right places. And then I'm just going around the edge of the pocket using the Tim Holtz tiny attacher just to fasten those edges together. And then just in the middle, just to make sure that that acetate catches at the top of the pocket as well. This is some Dina Wakley washi tape, and I'm just using this to fasten the edges of my pocket together a bit more, and also because the colours work quite nicely with what's already on the page. You see that I keep my washi tapes on giant rings. They're called jailer's key rings, and I think I got them off eBay. They are really useful for storing washi tapes, and then I just hang them up on the wall so that they're out the way. I can still see them, because I find if I can't see my supplies, I forget that I've got them. So it's quite a good way to be reminded about things when you've got them on display. Then I decided I would use the washi tape as my lines for my quote. So I've just tearing them into strips and adding them onto this left-hand page. And I will go back in here in a bit and add some words in here. Okay, so that's the pocket prepared. Now I've gathered a few tags and offcuts of Kraft cardstock, and I'm going to use these to add my acetate focal points onto. And basically all I'm going to do is cut them out, staple them on, and then that will be done. So pretty much the same way that I added the colour to my pages, I've done the same with the tags using the same colours. Yeah, and now I'm just going through and cutting the images out and then selecting which one I kind of felt the images would work best on. The archival ink can take quite a long time to dry on the acetate, so sometimes you're best leaving them overnight if you're able to. You can see those really dark ones on the right hand corner of the acetate haven't quite dried yet, so just be super careful because it is really easy to smudge them if they're not quite dry. And I think another way just to protect them when you put them on your work is to put them on upside down. Excuse me. So that as long as the text works, obviously, if that's you've got text on them, you can't always do that, but then it kind of protects the stamped part if that's next to your work. So then I'm just going to work through cutting out these images and stapling them onto the various tags that I've created for my pocket. Okay, and then I just gathered some little pieces of fabric and stapled those to the top like a little tab that I could pull things out with. I've added some cheeks onto some of them and some whites on some of the eyes. Not all of the stamps lend themselves to this though. And then I've used some of Dina's ledger paper quotes just to add some words onto these tags as well. And I've stuck those down using some clear glue. On some of my things I'm going in and adding some dots using this. I'd say this is a Posca pen. It's almost in the colour of the sand paint from Dina Wakley. Quite a neutral colour, it's pretty. Works quite well as a contrast with all of the pinks and purples that I've got going on this page. So I'm just trying to bring a bit of contrast into the pieces now, because the colours are all very samey, and I kind of felt that they needed a bit of a contrasting colour with a lighter colour. And then I grabbed one of Dina's chipboard shapes. This is one of the botanical ones, and I just felt this would work quite nicely, so I left it white because again it's a nice contrast against the rest of the page. and just sticking that in with some clear glue on the right hand side. And then I did just add a couple of staples just to make sure it would stay put. And then of course I had to go in and add some more dots too. But I guess you don't really need to see me doing lots and lots of hundreds of dots, so we'll skip this bit. And then using a fine Posca pen, I'm just going in and writing my words on this left hand side. I did have to go over the writing a couple of times, but just if you need to do that, it works even better if you dry it in between. Then you can layer the paint on top of each itself, so it will be a bit more opaque. You can see it's kind of disappearing into my background. So that's in spite of all the clear gesso and the paint as well. Maybe my Posca pen needed a better shake, I don't know. Anyhow, so writing my words in the spaces between the washi tape, so they're acting as kind of like a guide for where my text is going to go. And then I'm just using a Stabilo all pencil, and I'm just going at the top and bottom of the washi tape, and that kind of just pulls that a bit more into the foreground and somehow makes the writing stand out too. And then I've popped all my tags into the pocket. This journal is now getting very, very chunky, but I love it when they're like that. I think it's fabulously exciting, full of deliciousness. So I created a pocket in the Kraft journal using lots of offcuts of card and tags. Lots and lots of fun with loads of Dina's lovely stuff. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon.